Good afternoon, everyone. Austin Petersen here, former presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party. And today is Tuesday, November the 15th, and we are still in our post-election syndrome, all suffering from post-electoral syndrome. And it's been an interesting week, let me just say this. All of the reactions that we've had, the protests across the United States, violence inspired by the rise of our new president, the president-elect Donald J. Trump, who defeated Hillary Clinton in a rout last Tuesday. And here we are a week later, and we can see now the sort of reactions that has been brewing on the left, which I think just goes to show that the social democrats, the left wing, the progressives, the social justice warriors, and many of the social justice warriors in the Libertarian Party do not realize why they lost, why the liberals lost this election. And I'm just going to keep repeating this until we seem to get the message, or if I have to run for office again, just to remind people why this style of thought, of progressive thought, has no future in the United States. So don't make me do it, because I really don't want to have to. But I really would like the United States to come together, to heal. But some people in our country do not seem to recognize what the lesson of this election was. This was an election of personality. It was an election of social issues, of immigration, of foreign policy. It was an issue where we had two very unpopular candidates. I didn't vote for either one of these, the major party candidates, just FYI. But I admit, of course, I've stated before, and it gets me no end of grief, how we had a flawed candidate in the Libertarian Party as well. This is someone who was catering to the Bernie bros. Gary Johnson was catering to the Bernie bros, who tend to be more on the social justice side of things. Well, I've got a couple of reactions I'm going to play for you guys. If you're watching this on Facebook right now, you're going to get to watch the video along with me. If you're listening to the audio version of this later, then you get to, you won't get to see this, but you're going to get to hear some of the liberal tears. I try not to enjoy Schadenfreude, but it's sort of like watching the America's Funniest Home Videos, right? Where the guy gets kicked in the crotch, 20 times in a row. They made fun of it later on Idiocracy, where they were in the film Idiocracy, if you haven't seen it, where it's like, ow my balls. This is, in the future, this is all we're going to do is just enjoy Schadenfreude. Well, you'd be lying if I said that I hadn't watched this Young Turks election night special. And these are the definitions of progressive. These are progressive liberals. These are Bernie bros. These are the people that Gary Johnson really wanted to win over. And they despised him, by the way. Just like they despised Donald Trump, because everyone who doesn't agree with him is a racist, sexist, homophobe, et cetera, et cetera. And you all are white supremacists. Now, the thing is that just like I read in this story last night, if you guys hadn't caught my live stream last night, I've been doing my video live streams, my evening live streams on YouTube. So if you're not watching me on YouTube, you got to get the real live streams. I'm giving you an audio live stream today on Facebook just because you all are my family, basically. The people who listen to me on Facebook, who listen to this show like right now, you guys are like the hardcore of hardcores. It's a shame because you're my best audience, but I don't make any money from you guys. It kind of stinks, but I need to cultivate an audience anyway to spread the message no matter what, even if I'm not getting paid for it. But I've been doing my video live streams over on YouTube because I can monetize it over there. So do me a favor, it costs you nothing. If you go to youtube.com/AuggieP and subscribe to my Facebook page, or my YouTube page, excuse me, I really appreciate it. Helps me out a lot. Helps me a lot. I like it a lot. But I want to play for you guys now the Young Turks clip. This stuff is just amazing. It's amazing. Now, obviously the rage is fresh, so because this was happening on election night. But then I want to play something else that I saw, and this is why it's labeled not safe for work. There's some bad language in these videos, so if that kind of stuff turns you off, or if your kids are watching or listening right now, you might want to ask them to step out of the room or just come back and listen to this later. So let me go ahead and play this for you guys. But this Young Turks, it's just hilarious.
If she wins Florida, it's over. Okay, that means very likely she's won Pennsylvania.
No.
And she's going to be over 300 electoral votes.
No.
That doesn't necessarily mean landslide, but it means that's a comfortable win. What is the percentage? What is the percentage?
49.8, 2.5 points, 2.4 point lead for Hillary.
She has a 2.4 point lead. Everybody.
Yes.
Don't panic. She's here comes Hillary.
And just
So what's on the board, Ben?
well, Hillary Clinton has scored 21 straight points.
So the Young Turks are pretty
Yeah.
excited. They're confident of a Hillary victory coming down the pike.
Okay, I'm going to give you one more thing here. By the way, right now, you want to talk about early results. Mississippi leaning Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Oh, really? You think?
New York.
Donald Trump has lost his home state. He lost his home state. How can he possibly win? Okay, I feel better about
It's
Florida
New
than I do
York,
about Virginia.
Jank. Of course, the Republican is going to lose New York.
61% chance of winning
This
for
is
Donald Trump.
insane. This is insane.
We got
87% chance that the Republicans are going to keep the Senate. In which case, they
They're
would
going
have
to keep the
Trump,
Senate. Oh, he's not happy about that.
Supreme Court.
Oh, and they'll have the Supreme
And
Court.
the Supreme Court.
So he lost the Supreme Court, the
switch it over
Senate.
for the first time in an entire generation to liberal, and
Okay, guys, man, it's doomsday scenario here.
So good. So good. It's doomsday.
They now have Trump at 64% chance of winning.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, you almost had it.
I mean,
Yeah. So we're in bad shape.
Well, duh.
And you got fooled by a simpleton who uses simple sentences that appeal to you. I don't think America realizes that if this guy wins, we're in a world of trouble, every single one of us, including the people who voted against their best interests tonight.
Right, because you know better than the rest of us.
For the Trump presidency, brace for impact. New York Times now saying the chance of a Trump presidency is 92%.
Fox News is called North Carolina.
Fox News is called North Carolina. I was going to call North
Wait,
Carolina.
watch his face.
Done. North Carolina's gone. So that those. So she still has a chance.
Oh, the liberal
It's not a good
tears.
one. We'll take a quick break.
There's
Fox is
Anna.
called
Oh,
this.
Anna, I wish you weren't a liberal.
Really?
Yes, really.
Back on the Young Turks election coverage in a night that appears to be absolutely disastrous. But right now,
Oh, yeah.
we don't have good news really almost anywhere in those states that they absolutely need. And so, but now 90% reporting in Ohio, and he has a 9-point lead in Ohio.
9-point lead in Ohio.
But at the same time, tens of millions of
Now
Americans
here it comes.
are totally fine with a man who is driven almost purely by racism and sexism and Islamophobia, of hatred of everyone unlike him. And they want that. They went to vote for the
It's peanuts.
I mean, pretty fantastic. I mean, the Young Turks. I mean, I try not to enjoy too much Schadenfreude here, but the liberals were asking for it. I mean, for years they have been shutting down people from speaking at universities, canceling events, doing everything they can to silence their opposition. And again, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a conservative in any sense. I'm very much a radical libertarian. But I think that the behavior of the social justice warriors has been very anti-libertarian, shutting down free speech, calling every single person who disagrees with you a racist or a homophobe. I've been in politics for a long time now, 10 years. I know I'm young, but I have been doing this for such a long time, and I have seen these guys. I was there at Occupy Wall Street in New York City in 2010 when those all sprung up. There was the Tea Party, and then Occupy Wall Street came about. And I was there when people were saying when you would disagree with them. Now I would get into a debate with some of these types, these social justice warriors, and I would try to keep the focus on economics because the discussion would start out, that they were instantly there with an economic fallacy. Well, we have a gap between the rich and the poor, blah blah blah, and this is because of systemic oppression and racism, and so blah blah blah. So you could never keep them on economics. You couldn't explain to them why Social Security was not a good thing for blacks because blacks don't live as long as whites, so they don't collect Social Security. Well, you're a racist for pointing it out. You're a racist for pointing out facts. And, you know, if you've known me at all, if a lot of you guys are noobs, you haven't been listening to me for years. I mean, I've been talking about this stuff for years, talking about these social justice warriors and arguing against them. The whole argument in the debates, the thing that came down to between me and Gary Johnson was a form of the social justice warrior style of libertarianism. That was what was at stake in the Libertarian primary, because Johnson said he wanted you to bake the cake. Essentially, right? That it's that no, we believe in forced association, and that's really what social justice warriors are all about. It's about forced association. But it's not really, because again, a lot of these people want segregation in many ways, right? The safe spaces, right? They want segregation. Again, you see it happening across college campuses. They want to shut out people. They don't want to listen, and everybody that they disagree with, that disagrees with them, is a bigot. Now, you've got to watch this clip of Wanda Sykes, and this is where the language gets really rough. But I was just really proud of my fellow Americans for standing up to her, because she is just so obviously a bully. And again, you know, you're not listening to a big Trump supporter here. Just so you know, I campaigned against the guy. I don't think that he would be. I really didn't want him to be the commander-in-chief. Politically, I agreed more from an issue perspective with Johnson's policy platform than I did with Trump. My problem with Trump is that you just don't know what he actually believes. He says one thing, and then an hour later he says something else. That really makes me nervous. But when I see Americans shutting this lady down, I mean, the guy is now our president. No matter what you think about it. If it had been Hillary Clinton, I would have said the same way. Shut your whining. Quit your whining. Well, the conservatives would have whined for a couple of days and then gone back to their lives. You know why? Because they have jobs, so they don't have jobs as professional whiners. That's my job. I'm a professional internet whiner. I'm whining for liberty here, guys. My argument is not left nor right, but as someone who believes in sincerely respects our constitutional processes in the United States, I got to give Trump kudos. Congratulations. You know, America likes a winner, and especially an underdog who comes from behind against all odds. So Trump earned mad respect from me for that. Now there's all these arguments, and libertarians are looking at his cabinet picks, and Rand Paul is freaking out, and Ron Paul are freaking out because he's got all these neocons that are coming to work for him. Well, do you know why? Because a lot of the libertarians didn't support him, and Trump believes in the spoils system. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Andrew Jackson, but in the presidential debates, right, in the long history of debates with the United States presidents, there's the argument for and against a spoils system. So what Trump is doing right now, he's saying that the victors are going to go to the spoils. Essentially, that Trump is rewarding, or at least trying to reward, people who are loyal to him, and he's going to put them in his cabinet. So there's no chance that libertarians really are going to get in his cabinet, just because. I mean, there is one, FYI, Judy Shelton, who's going to be one of his economic advisors, who's fantastic, if you don't know, by the way. But right now, the big concern, of course, is foreign policy. I mean, Trump was less bellicose on foreign policy than Hillary. Hillary was much more of a neocon. But now look what we have. We have all these neocons jockeying for positions, high positions, in Trump's cabinet. But I mean, are you really surprised? And we can talk foreign policy. Let's stick to the subject. Social justice warriors. I was proud to see Americans shut this lady down, and just to give her a good hearty boo. I mean, nobody was telling her to shut up, but she was she's doubling down on the failed strategy that Hillary and the Democrats and the social justice warriors and the lefty libertarians employed in this election, and it didn't work. So I want you to watch this with Wanda Sykes. I mean, it's just delicious, because people have just had enough. And if you're a libertarian and you can't identify with that, I'm sorry. But I mean, you know, bake the cake, right? No, the days of bake the cake are done. Here we go. Watch this social justice work get absolutely destroyed. It's a beautiful thing, a thing of beauty. Enjoy.
After the election, I was going around consoling people.
She starts to lose the audience here.
The evidence is there. How can you say he's not racist? How can you rap about a pussy? How can you say he's not sexist? How can you say he's not racist? How can you say he's not homophobic?
Hey guys, yeah, well, so sorry if it's not that loud. The audio on that YouTube video wasn't as loud as it really needed to be. But anyway, so she's like, how can you say he's not racist? How can you say he's not homophobic? I mean, the crowd just goes crazy on her. You can watch it later, guys, on your own. It was just a little short clip anyway. But she's out there, she's just saying, oh, this won't be our first racist president. This won't be our first homophobic president. And that's all it is, just a sling of pejoratives. I understand if you don't like the guy, but what policies does Trump have that you don't appreciate with? Don't attack your audience. That's usually a really good argument. And I especially learned that when I was running for president. I had one moment where and this is actually very relevant to this discussion, because I said some bad words in a radio interview once. Most of you know I became a campaign issue. And it was just so funny because there was all these hedonist, libertine, social justice warrior leftists, the polyamorous types, the ones who, the alternative lifestyles types, and they were attacking me about this. These people say so much disgusting, what, on a daily basis, and they're all such hypocrites. I mean, the fact that the left would attack Donald Trump over his comments on what he said is just so delicious, because, what he said I think was inappropriate because he was actually talking about sexual assault. But the fact that the liberals try and act like they have some kind of moral high ground is just totally delicious. I mean, they're all hypocrites. I mean, Newt Gingrich, wasn't he an adulterer? That's the guy that's out there wagging his finger at Megyn Kelly. And believe me, I am not socially conservative. I am socially liberal. But the hypocrisy of the social justice warriors for being the word police, when when all the filth that comes out of Hollywood and television and movies is of their making, is just absolutely hilarious. I mean, they are just all these leftist hypocrites had their idols destroyed. And I mean, it's really hard not to look at them and just say, thank you, Donald Trump. Thank you. In some sense, he's done us all a great favor. And the thing is, as much of a critic as Donald Trump has been, if you go back and you check my live streams and podcasts, the Freedom Report podcast, I've given Trump credit where credit was due. I've given Trump credit where it was due. What Donald Trump got right, and this was before the election. There were many times when I sat down and I was looking at the election. I'm like, wow, that's definitely a victory. That's the kind of thing that we need, and that's really why I think he got elected. Because even the people who voted for him, I would say most of them, 3 years ago would have said, oh, Donald Trump's a New York liberal and we'd never support him. But when he's the only guy, when you're in a war, and he's the only guy that comes in and says, come with me if you want to live. That's what the conservatives did. They found the one guy who was offering them a helicopter ride out of social justice warrior land. He was the only guy that was offering them out. I mean, Gary Johnson was telling them to bake the cake and saying, oh, you don't call them illegal immigrants. Listen, I don't give a damn how many mountains you've climbed in your time. If you whine about policing people's speech, oh my gosh, don't call them illegals. I'm sorry, but you lost. You lose. You're going to lose. That is the America that Donald Trump has brought about, and it's got its ugly sides. It absolutely does. I'm not going to not be objective on it. It absolutely does. I don't agree with the rants against free trade. I don't agree with building the wall. I think the immigration policy platforms are incorrect. I don't agree with the Muslim bans. That's wrong. I could be objective. I don't have to endorse one side to point out the foibles of the other. All right? And I can even police my own. Just like I do when I say, the bake-the-cake libertarianism has got to stop. It's got to come to an end. It's got to come to an end. Just today, and you know what? Actually, you guys didn't know something that sent me off this rant today. That got me wanted to talk about this because I've been playing the Young Turks on repeat just because I thought it was just so freaking beautiful. But somebody said today, Austin, how do you justify you saying like years ago before I decided to run for president? How do you justify that you said the word nigga? And I'll say that again. How do I justify that I said the word nigga? Well, a lot of you don't know I have a background in the arts, musical theater major, and whenever I'm happy, I sing. Actually, I got in trouble. This is a cool story. I got in trouble at Fox because I sang so much, and I'm pretty sure that Bill O'Reilly himself sent me an anonymous email, and the only reason I think it was probably him was because his office was across from my desk. Where he sent me an anonymous email from annoyingcoworker.com. Yes, you have a nice singing voice, but it's very distracting and annoying to the colleagues around you. Please try not to keep a lid on it, kid. Because whenever I'm happy, I sing. And I've been in a really good mood lately, especially now that this election is all over. So I've been singing a lot lately. And you know what I really love? I love hip hop. I love EDM. I listen to a lot of EDM, and I listen to a lot of hip hop. I used to listen to a lot of like alternative rock and stuff, and I would play guitar and play Matchbox 20 and all the the pop hip hop rock. No Nickelback. Sorry guys. But lately I've been listening to a lot of hip hop, a lot of EDM, a lot of rap, and I sing along. I learn the words and the lyrics, and I sing along. And I've been for like 4 or 5 years I've been really into like the latest rap scenes and all the newest artists, and I like pop music. I just love music in general. Music is just a really big part of my life. And most of you guys, you only know me through politics, but I mean, I'm just it's crazy about music, and I love concerts and all that stuff. So it's just my personal stuff. But so 4 or 5 years ago, this guy approached me. We kind of became buddies. His name was Cooter Brown, of all things, and we talk about rap, we talk about hip hop, we talk about music, and we talked about all my favorite hip hop artists. I love reggae, and and if Kanye runs in 2020, I mean, I'll be a liar if I say I'm not looking forward to the memes. But here's what's interesting about what happened is a few years ago we were having a discussion, and I like to sing my hip hop songs, and obviously they use the word nigga all the time. It's like nigga, nigga, nigga. It's like my nigga, and I love this music, and I'm like I identify with it, right? And that offended some people, which really made me angry because it's sort of an attempt to stifle my enjoyment of something that is such an important part of my life. I mean, who hasn't on a Friday night wanted to like get turned up and drive around drunk with your F-150 in the fields listening to some Ty Dolla $ign? I mean, rap music is the bomb. I mean, I love Kanye. I don't care about his politics. Like, I can separate it. I like people as an artist. I feel like I need to get a little separation in here. Like, people like Wanda Sykes and comedians and stuff. They say stupid stuff. I don't really boycott a whole lot and stuff like that. I try and just listen to everybody and take everybody in. But hip hop is a really big deal to me because I love it. I listen to all their albums. And, Rihanna, and I like Drake, and B.O.B., Big Sean, Sean Kingston, actually, I really love. Anyways, this isn't about my favorite hip-hop artists, but what I did was I said, I would sing the words, and this white liberal started chastising me. Because I asked a sincere question, am I allowed to say the word if I'm singing it in a song? And he said, no. I mean, that is in itself that is such an anti-libertarian impulse, right? And it's like people accuse you of cultural appropriation, and I just have to feel like I have the need, like my rebellious spirit, to fight that with all of my power, and it's like nobody cares about your feelings. You're offended. But when you're trying to stomp out someone's happiness or enjoyment of another person's they call it cultural appropriation, right? This is why when Halloween, everybody's, all the social justice warriors are crying, and across college campuses, they're banning, Halloween costumes. That is what gave us Donald Trump. That attitude, that prohibitionist attitude, is precisely what brought us Donald Trump. And so that's why I feel it's important for us to be able to reclaim the use of words and for us to fight these battles as libertarians, because these prohibitionists are encroaching on us and our liberty bit by bit. So listen, this is not an excuse for you to go out and be a butthead. This doesn't mean that you go out there and you try and purposely offend people. But I'm not trying to purposely offend people because I'm singing the lyrics to one of my favorite new hip-hop songs, okay? So what set me off on this rant is that somebody posted the picture, and I'm going to post this right now on the Facebook right now. When is it okay for a white boy to say nigga? And they're saying, Austin, this is an example of why you can never lead libertarians. Actually, this is an example of why libertarians now, especially nowadays, are getting their asses kicked. Is because you ain't got no balls. Yeah, and you know what? That was the only time that I ever attacked the libertarians directly when we were in a debate. I just shared that in there for you guys. Is the only time it was when they attacked me over the pyramids comment. Because as you know, I said some bad words related to some pyramids. It wasn't talking about sexual assault, I'll tell you that much. But I said some bad words because I was ripping into a guy. I was actually defending a woman, ironically, and my opponents who were liberal Johnsonites, people who are, themselves most likely feel leftists and hedonists in their own life, are trying to attack me like, oh, Austin, you're not going to be accepted for the major public because of these words and blah 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 blah. The conservatives were the ones supporting me. You stinking morons! You morons! You fools! Glenn Beck didn't care about the language. That's how sick to death the conservatives are. That the social conservatives don't have, that now the left are the prudes. It's the left that have got their butts tighter than a snare drum. And you can't have any fun anymore. You can't have jokes. You can't sing a rap song because you might say the word nigga. This is what it has come to. Is that it is now the social conservatives are on the left. It's amazing. They're more Puritan than the right. Donald Trump is not a social conservative. Donald Trump is a New York liberal, has probably had sex with more hot women than you could ever imagine. I mean, he's bragged about it. He is now the leader of the Republican Party and the leader-to-be of the free world. And now all the leftists, all the social justice warriors are out in full force to silence them because it's partisan and because they're hypocrites. The right's hypocrites too, but I mean, the libertarians should be standing against this kind of social justice warrior stuff. I'm sorry, but it's the 3%. We can now call the liberal Johnsonites the 3%. You are the 3%, guys. Congratulations. You got your 3% of the country. Ain't good enough. Ain't going to get you an election. Ain't going to get you your federal welfare check. It's not going to get you your 5%. If you think that if you run another effete, bake-the-cake liberal shilling for the Democrat, with your VP shilling for the Democrat, if you think that if you run someone like that in 2020, that is going to get you your 5%. I got my membership card here for the Libertarian Party. It's here somewhere. You can have it, and little good may it do you, because I guarantee you there is no future for bake the cake, social justice warrior libertarianism. And so that's it. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just the liberal tears are out in full force. Do me a favor, guys, if you like these. I do my show, my live show, the video show on YouTube at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And that's on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/AuggieP. Probably be doing an expanded discussion of this tonight, but with video, so you get to see my beautiful face. But yeah, listen to that podcast that I dropped in there. When is it okay for white boys to say nigga? Because, this is supposed to be a point of contention. Somebody says, I don't see nigga as being explicit. It's all about the question of who can say what when. When is it okay? And I think that it's an interesting discussion because to me, I feel like we need to, it's not that we need to be buttheads, but we've got to stop the PC police. We've got to stop. We've got to stop. All right, so thanks a lot for listening, guys. Have a wonderful day. Share this on your timeline. Really appreciate you spreading the message. And of course, don't forget to come back every single day to your home for economic freedom and personal liberty at thelibertarianrepublic.com.